AS and AS, we know that you are vibing a lot, but please think of the future implication as well.
In Hausa, love is blind.
Yes,
Right now,
yes.
there are a lot of scenarios that has been happening, and the suffering of this S gene, having a child with that SS, now gives that opening of the eye,
Yeah.
and then you won't like it. You won't like to know what will happen to you. It's best. My advice to the youth out there is best to avoid such things. Don't allow the love to enter you. Kada soyayya shi game mutumin
Wallahi,
sosai.
you test your genotype today, it will tell you that you are AA.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, it will tell you
Thank
that
you.
you are AS.
Thank you.
How is that possible, and why is that
I
possible?
would love the scientists to,
It's true.
to
You
reply
know,
on
they
this.
said if you possess a gene that can never alter, it will not change. Throughout your lifetime, this gene you have, it's yours. For example, like you have an S gene, and people will tell you that it will change later. This is just a side talk. The gene you
Let me
have
break you a
is
little
yours.
bit. You don't look like a Nigerian. You actually look like a
Yeah,
Chinese.
I know
and,
Chinese.
and by origin you are Kanuri. How is that possible? You know? You're
Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Susu Abdul. So I would love to talk about genotype together with my friends here. So I want you to sit back and watch to the end of this video. My friends here will introduce themselves. As you all know, I'm Soiba Abdurrashid, yes, aka Susu Abdul. Let them introduce themselves.
Hello friends, I'm Elijah Simon. I'm a biomedical laboratory scientist.
Hello everyone, nice to see you again. I'm Usman Mohammed, medical laboratory scientist.
My name is Zainab Abagana, a health educator and also a student.
Alright, I don't want to keep you waiting even though I'm sipping my cappuccino. You all know me with the love of tea. Today we are going to talk about genotype. A lot of you have been talking about genotype, and why is people are much concerned about it, especially those that want to get married or those that are in a relationship. I would love to talk about it with my friends here, and they will educate you more on genotype. The first thing is, when did you start having knowledge about genotype? I will start asking my friends randomly. So just, vibe with us. Of course, Zainab cover Elijah. I know that you are all health personnel here, and aside health profession, when did you start knowing this genotype of a thing? Because me personally, I started knowing of genotype when I was in 200 level, and it's not that I know it on an educational level. I know it on a personal level. A friend of mine is getting married, and she wants to go to test her genotype. She asked me, "What's your genotype?" I was like, "It's O positive." She said, "No, I'm not talking about blood group. Your genotype." I said, "What's this? Like, what's this?" That it just hit me that genotype and blood group, they are two different things. She said, "Let's go and test our genotype." I was like, "No, I'm AA." She said, "No, let us just go and test it." When we went there, I test my genotype, and luckily enough, let's just talk about you. Please, can you tell us what is genotype first, so that we'll digress and talk about it more?
First and foremost, after sipping my tea, that will give me that calmness to talk more about genotype. Alright, just as you see, genotype, the word genotype is the genetic makeup of an individual or an organism. It also contributes to that. Now, let's talk about the types of the genotype we have. Now, first we have the AA genotype, we have the AS genotype, we have the AC genotype, and then we have the SS genotype. But I mentioned AS and I still mention AC.
Yeah.
Now, the AC genotype is a very rare type of the genotype.
Exactly.
Now, some people consider themselves lucky to be AA, and then they feel big
Yes.
AA genotype, just like me. Now, the SS genotype is what we want to stop the occurrence, and that's why getting tested or knowing your status is very important to minimize or to stop the occurrence of having an offspring that bears that SS, of which it has a gene disorder.
Please, why do you want to stop the occurrence of the SS genotype?
Seriously, the occurrence of SS genotype definitely needs to stop there, because it has many complications and it's not bearing like usually. Some people will think that, just for example, for marriage's purpose, as the topic we want to discuss, they'll be like, why not we love each other? Let's go for this marriage without getting ourselves tested. I would be like, as a medical laboratory scientist, why will you even get married without getting yourself tested? When I realized that they don't have the knowledge and background for what is called the sickle cell anemia, it's what he's trying to avoid. The S gene, like my brother said here. An awareness needs to be made for we to have these things getting avoided. It has many complications and it's very severe.
So
It's fatal. So.
our parents that didn't get to test their genotype before, and they have passed through the test. Even my parents, they didn't test them. They didn't even know their genotype up to today. You understand? They have passed through this stage. So some people used to use that as reference. I'm my ear, I'm about to test the happen numbers. Fuck my this and we can go ahead with it. So what can you say about that?
No, it's usually lack of the knowledge. Come on, as you said earlier, rashin sani ne aka ce ya fi dare duhu, right? But the best solution is for you to know. Kamar yadda kika faɗa, you said it would be like they don't have exposure to what is called the genotype. But the world is
Aware.
progresses,
Yeah.
everyone gets to know knowledge. There are many relationships that fails because of
I
each other.
think before there is this sickle cell anemia, without even knowing that this
Course,
is sickle cell
of course,
anemia.
it's actually in existence
Yes,
since time
so-
before. I had a friend that told me that, oh, years back my dad was telling me that his cousin was taken from home from the mother because that child was given birth to with SSD, the SSD we're
Yeah,
talking
the
about.
SSD.
So he was taken down to the river, he was thrown.
Oh my god.
So that was what has been happening in Far East. So it's the awareness, just like scientist Cusco said, it's the awareness to keep the minds of people prepared so that to avoid all those emotional
That is
trauma
where
and
they
damages that will be
even know
caused to
that-
the mother of the child
that is
because she'll be
where-
traumatized. How can you just take a child and throw it to the river?
Yes.
That he
Because
has
of genotype.
yes, because of
Yes.
genotype.
Because
It's
even
important
knowing-
for our people here. Even the Hausa culture in Arewa, people have been given birth to with that S gene, and a lot of people have not been useful in the community,
Exactly.
and then they've been stigmatized, and a lot of things have been said about them. Actually, I want to know the iska.
Yes.
I
True,
remember
it's
my
true,
mom
it's
told
true.
me that.
It's true.
You know, very important that people should know about this thing so that to prevent those unforeseen scenarios and
Exactly.
future disturbances,
That's true.
emotional damages that
Yes.
may
True.
cause to the
Let
mother and the
me
family.
let me turn to my sister
Yeah.
here as a health advocate. Do you know their genotype?
Actually, I know.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm
Because
100% sure.
because
I'm
yeah,
not doubting, but
Screaming
I
your status is confidential. All right, go ahead.
exactly yes.
So how do you advise young ladies like to know their genotype? Because if you're dating, as far as I am concerned, if I'm dating, if I'm AS, that's if I'm AS, I would love to know what is your genotype. You understand? But if I'm AA, I won't be like burdened. He's AS, he's AA, he's SS. I can accommodate that. But if I'm not AA, what advice can you give young ladies like that?
Actually, at the first place, let's start by when you start your dating. At least someone who saw you want to
Early
be approached
stage.
at early stage. Try to ask him what is your genotype.
Especially if you have interest in that
Yes,
person.
exactly. If you don't have interest, go. If you don't have interest, you like to see him for having that knowledge. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it might be someone else. He might go for someone.
Yeah.
Let him know. Let him have that knowledge that since this is the case, so let's have the genotype of his genotype. If you guys are in the same party like AS together, so try to advise yourself because I normally experience that two AS having vibes a lot. Actually, yes, having vibes a lot. But I'm advising
Yes.
no people don't worry about the vibes
Yes.
actually, but try to focus on that person.
But how would you advise a guy that don't have much knowledge on this genotype of a thing, and maybe you are AS? How would you advise him to go and check this genotype and to know the implications of it?
Let him start by giving him some examples. Let him go to hospital, maybe within the family. There are some people that are sickle cell victims and they suffer a lot. More especially in the winter, they suffer a lot. They suffer a lot. They keep the like
To avoid it.
yes, straight. Later, I'll show him that Give him example. Let him know. Then he will try to like say,
Okay,
let's go
so
and do it to
Jonathan,
avoid this.
exactly.
So that when we give birth to our child, let us not have that problem.
Exactly.
So that we will keep ourselves safe.
Why?
AS.
And AS, they are vibing. I don't
Actually,
know why.
Well,
Well, I
this
think
I will just do the general, but let's
I love
just get married.
I love giving practical scenarios. I was once told by my dad that my own uncle started dating a lady he met in school. Now he came home one day because I love, before we have this chocolate Franto. He bought me Franto that contains balloon inside. So brought in. I was sitting in the parlor. My dad was like fighting me. Why did you start engaging a lady without even telling the family? It's not right. You're supposed to come home, tell us first. We go ask and take inquiries about the lady's family if they have issue, genetic issue, and the rest
Yeah.
of the stuffs. Now, funny enough, they are both AS. My uncle is AS. His fiance
Yeah.
is AS.
she's
Now, he was told, he was trying to give him a counsel because even in church they will tell you you can't marry, and
Yes.
so now he decided to just take the lady and run away.
Wow.
Now he left town
Yeah.
and he ran down to he left Maiduguri and went to Lagos. Now he gave birth to a child with SS.
Oh my God.
Now that relationship had to scatter
Yes.
because it wasn't in a foundation where the family have agreed to join them as couples. A lot of things have been going on, and I have this friend of mine who was my senior colleague. He started. He went into relationship by force, knowing fully well that he's AS, but he just loved the girl.
Yeah.
You know how guys
The
do.
vibe.
They
Why you
actually
talking about
vibe. The lady is so cool. The guy is cool. She got cash, and he's a medical laboratory scientist. He got
Money.
cash. The girl also was vibing along,
Yeah.
and along the line, unfortunately for him, her mom is a medical doctor, and she had to cut down that relationship. Mind you, it was a 6 years relationship.
Oh my God.
A 6 years relationship took both of them into a heavy trauma of heartbreak, and he had to be undergoing some counseling session
Oh my God.
together with the lady too. And her mom took her from Maiduguri down to just to heal away from the guy.
Guys, I know that a lot of you can relate to these stories. Have you ever been separated from your lover because of these genotype issues? If yes, please comment down below and tell me your story. And also, AS and AS, we know that you are vibing a lot, but please think of the future implication as well. Think of the future implication. Don't think of yourself, but think of your children. If you get married to an AS and you are AS, you know that you won't have this emotional balance when you get married, when you start having children, because you're always in the hospital. The man is maybe at work, you're in the hospital with the kid. Especially as a lady, man, you will be traumatized very well. So whatever, please. If you are AS and you don't have guys that are AA, even if you have a friend, a male friend, you know he is AA, give him a sign. Give him a sign.
In 2 weeks of the relationship, ask the guy, what is your genotype?
Exactly.
Ask the lady.
in a week.
Because in Hausa, love is blind.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, there are a lot of scenarios that has been happening, and the suffering of this S gene, having a child with that SS, now gives that opening of the eye, and then you won't like it. You won't like to know what will happen to you. It's best. My advice to the youth out there is best to avoid such things. Don't allow the love to enter you. Because
Wallahi.
They said love is blind.
Uh-huh.
Love is blind.
Uh-huh.
Everyone has been saying this word.
Okay.
But when it comes to genetic testing,
Mm.
you have to get the bold enough. Keep this love aside. Make sure you are well perfect before this love will progress.
So, as a scientist, have you ever broken a relationship before?
Because of genotype.
Genotype.
Of course.
And how did you cancel the couples?
This is what I want to know.
Yes, how did
Continue.
Yeah, seriously.
How did you cancel
Uh,
the couples?
The couples come to meet me. I was at home sitting. Then they were like, we want to settle with each other, and we have been in this relationship, I think 2 to 3 years. We want to know our genotype because you are the laboratory scientist in the neighborhood. And they said, if you want to know your genetic status, you meet a laboratory scientist. When they came to me, I was like, all right, it's in the weekend, sir. So we'll meet on Monday, then to know about your status.
Yeah.
I met them at the hospital. Actually, they met me in the hospital. I took their blood samples. Then I said, "You can now go. You will get the result from me later." It happens that when I test the result, both of them are still AS, the vibes you are talking about.
Can you imagine? How did you go about this?
My dad was also a medical representative.
Okay.
So then I informed, I want to get his consent about how I would approach this thing.
Okay.
You know what he told me?
No.
He said, "You are also a medical laboratory scientist. You have to be in these shoes right now. So I don't give you any advice. Go and tackle this case by yourself."
Wow.
Meaning I should get there cancelled, right?
So go down. I want to know, how did you
Yeah.
manage the whole scenario?
I know, actually I called them, but I called the both of them. Said tell them that I am not against their relationship. Let them know this at first. Then there will be
Adawa bane.
there will be a situation where I will say, when I know them, I don't like them. I
Dama,
personally
tunda
know
yar
them.
lungun ku ne ko kana dan leka.
I don't like this one. I kept them. I said, "Jokes aside, let's assume we don't know each other. But I'm going to tell you the truth. There is an implication.
Okay.
And Kuma is a risk condition. For me, if I am to say I should judge the result I got from the lab, I would say you guys are not compatible. Sorry to hear that, but you guys are not compatible." They said, "How are we not compatible? We are not medical personnel."
Yes.
I need to give them explanation. Then I start giving them knowledge of genotype as we start talking earlier from up to this stage. I told them that this S gene, we are not going to get this just God will create you that you have a gene. You have to inherit it from both of our one or both of our parents.
Yes.
It happens that you have a normal and abnormal gene.
Sure.
The A and the S
Yes.
gene. The A is the normal and the S is the abnormal.
Yes.
You also have, but when we cross-reference it, according to Mendel,
Yes.
when we give a cross-reference, you will see that there would be a situation where, for example, in a ratio of 4, you encounter a child of SS, a sickle cell child, 2:4.
Well, do you know,
get the
I
ratio.
have a question.
Yes.
Now, at times when having such, knowing your status,
Yeah.
you are AS, your wife is AS. Do you know there was a scenario that a man got married to a lady that he is AS, she is AS, and they gave birth to 4 kids who are all SS. How is that possible?
He gave birth to 4 kids who
4
are
kids
SS.
who are SS
And
at a
he
spot,
is-
and he is AS, his wife is AS.
Wow. This case is very tough. Let me
It's
sip my
very
cappuccino.
Science is not always
actually, you see,
right.
this Mendel's law can cause a fight
Yeah,
in a nation,
exactly.
because we
Yeah.
have the Mendel's inheritance and the non-Mendel's inheritance.
It's true.
Yeah.
While
And we have scientists like Bernstein's law of inheritance.
sure.
There are
So a lot of explanations can be given around that, but time will be a limitation. The advice is you should know your status.
So I have a question. How about I have a lot of scenarios that you test your genotype today, it will tell you that you are AA.
Thank you.
Tomorrow
That is
it will tell you
Thank
that
you.
you are AS.
Thank you.
How is that possible and why is that
I
possible?
would love the scientists to,
It's true.
to
You
reply
know,
on
they
this.
said if you possess a gene that can never alter, it will not change. Throughout your lifetime, this gene you have, it's yours. For example, like you have an S gene, and people will tell you that it will change later. This is just a side talk. The gene you
Let me
have
break you a
is
little
yours.
bit. You don't look like a Nigerian. You actually look like a Chinese.
Yeah, I know,
and,
Chinese.
and by origin you are Kanuri. How is that possible? You know, you're actually looking.
Yes.
I witnessed
Yes.
2 to 3 like this. They will go to lab scientists who test them today. They will be AA. Tomorrow they will be AS. I was like wondering, since you say that it can never change, then what causes
Why?
this?
Yes.
Why?
Is it-
And what
is
You
causes
it-
need and a well-equipped laboratory.
How will you know that this place is competent?
By of course, for example, this place is a laboratory. If my laboratory is well equipped or not, and I have the competence one, you will not hear of
Complaint.
complaints. This is
Or-
what it takes to have a standard laboratory.
You can even go to a medical doctor to ask him, this is my the challenge, and then he can
You
also
refer me
refer
to
you to a place
No.
where someone is
It's true.
a
Refer me
standard
to a
medical
great
laboratory.
sisters or brothers literate in
Mm.
this? Let them just stick to one genotype. Don't let them go this. Let me test this.
You
Let me
see,
test
a condition
this.
that clinic again, not even reach the standard of the health due to errors. You see, there are many errors in the laboratory. Once, if you are within the laboratory, you know what it takes to know these errors. Some of the errors are made unknowingly. I'm talking this based on experience. They are not unknowingly. You think you did the right thing,
Yes.
but because you are not careful enough, you see that you have a very different result. There are many genotype tests. Test has been done, it has been given. Thank God, for example, a situation whereby the person has known his genotype, but for marriage sake, they say you should go and do that genotype.
Yeah.
Then they come to the laboratory. He is known with AA genotype. Then he got tested. Unfortunately, they give him a different result. He said, "How? Because I have known my
This
genotype.
that is.
It's just for marriage purpose. You know, the marital testing is not
Yes.
just genotype alone.
Yes,
There are
a lot
other
of-
places. It's just good that you should just wrap it and do it all together."
So can you know your genotype without testing? Because there are some people that will say, "Me, I already know I am AA because my family members are AA or something like that." Like, is that accurate?
This type of people, let me tell you that's Magana. Only if they know their parents' status. For example, like your parents is AA, and
What?
then your
Mom.
both of your parents are AA. So you'll be like, I don't need to test because they are AA, they are AA. I cannot that it's true. But what if another case occurs?
Because it's actually a genetic disorder.
That's it.
It's a genetic disorder. So you can't just bring into conclusion that no, I'm safe. Nobody is safe.
Nobody is
When it comes to things that matters with
the testing,
Testing.
with laboratory.
with the gene itself for your red blood cell of sickle cell patient. Now, just like the red blood cell of a normal individual is a bioconcave or we say oval shaped, and it has the ability to meander around in the blood vessels. But that of the patient, the sickle cell patient, now his own red blood cell, the RBC, are sickle shaped. It looks like a question
Like
mark,
that,
like a
yeah.
sickle. You have farm tool in
Yeah.
agri that we are taught. Now, it's block the blood vessel, they get congested, or they hook themselves, and then it leads to crisis and many, and there won't be enough oxygen carrying capacity of that blood. There won't be blood flow into the organs, into the brain. At times they can just seizure. They can experience seizure, fever, pains, unbearable pains.
The implication is just too much.
It's just too much. You wouldn't love to experience it actually. It's very important you know your genotype before getting married. Before not getting married, before starting a relationship.
Yeah.
If you know that
So in a
relationship is
nutshell-
leading somewhere,
Yeah, in a nutshell, just tell us how can somebody ask a person genotype immediately after they connect? How can that person bring out the conversation of genotype?
well, the
Especially
conversation.
for us ladies, you know we are shy.
No, there's no shy.
shy in
If you
genetic
know the consequences that will come further, you won't be shy. I tell you won't be shy of knowing your partner's genotype. It's very important. Just like I said, 2 weeks of having that relationship, starting that. Don't even start. 2 weeks of preparing your mind,
Yeah,
because
starting
you
stage.
can't have that emotional capacity to bear what you're about to face. It's important to know before going into that relationship. If you know the relationship is leading to somewhere, you have to know your partner's genotype, because
Don't feel shy. Feel free. Ask him, because for your healthy and the implications you will face further if you put yourself into that shoes.
Relationship.
Yes.
Our own scientists here, please, what's the advice to young youth out there and also to our spiritual leaders?
Well,
Yeah.
I will start with the leaders. All I can say about the leaders is let them go and get the exposure and the experience. Once they have the experience, youth is to follow the advice given to them.
Yes.
And
Because they have influence on them.
and talking about the youth, get yourself tested as an advice. The earlier, the better. You avoid this drama now, you avoid yourself future trouble. Don't be in a negligence. Just get yourself tested. No,
Yes, you see, I have finished my cappuccino. Yes. In a nutshell, my friends have already tell you everything. The thing is, just please get tested. Know your genotype. It's very important for you, for your health, and for the health of your future kids. If you think you have a serious something with somebody, please go and ask of their genotype. Thank you so much for watching. If you have anything to tell us, your own personal story about genotype or about anything, yes, yeah, drop a comment. If you have any question, we will be having another conversation around genotype. Tell us. And thank you so much for watching. This is Susa Abdul signing out.